Hey gang, it's Dave Marcus, New York correspondent for the Federalist here. And today I'm joined by Roberto Wakerell-Cruz, who's the Canadian news editor at the Millennial. And we're going to be talking about some of the crazy lockdown stuff that's going on up in the Great White North. So thanks for joining us, Roberto.
Happy to be here.
So, so let me just start off. Americans are pretty provincial. We're a little bit like New York City in the sense that we don't pay very much attention to what goes on in the rest of the world. But we have been seeing stories and snippets and videos and images and stuff coming out of Canada that show a kind of lockdown that's far more drastic than most parts of the United States have experienced. So right off the bat, can you just tell us what the restrictions are, like where you are in Montreal and more broadly across Canada?
Yeah, so it does differ from province to province, and you're right. I've spent enough time in the U.S. to know that Americans don't really think about Canada all that much. But the things that they do think about Canada, the hockey, the ice skating, the tobogganing, all the kind of silly stuff, uh, now is all illegal, which is kind of silly, crazy to think about. And that does differ from province to province. Where I am in Quebec, which is the French-speaking province, I think most people know. There's currently a curfew, which begins at 8 p.m. This is a hard curfew, which means there's basically no reason for you to be outside the house. And the only reason really is if you are leaving to the airport, which is funny, or if you are walking a dog, which are really the two main reasons, which has now led to this whole kind of weird black market of people renting their dogs for people to walk on the streets. But this has a less funny side where I think this week there's been something up to 1,500 COVID curfew tickets given up throughout the province. That was this week. And these range from anywhere between $1,000 to $6,000. And
Oh,
the
goodness.
$6,000 ones, I don't know if those are given too often. I think those are more for non-compliance if you really give a hard time, but that's still a lot of money, even in, Canadian dollars.
And what would happen were someone unable to pay their ticket or tickets? I mean,
Well, we don't really know exactly. We've seen a lot of tickets been given out. I don't know how many people are fighting these tickets or really how they end up. It seems to me, I mean, it seems like a massive tax grab, basically just grabbing income from citizens. I mean, Quebec especially is infamous for how many tickets it gives out to drivers, and I think really the curfew tickets is just another way for them to just grab more money from citizens. The province is flat broke, but that's not like other provinces like Ontario who have different situations in BC and Manitoba. Everywhere's different in their own ways.
so as you know, in the United States, that tends to that dynamic of the differences from state to state tends to break down politically, with Republican-led states being more open, uh, Democratic Party-led states being more closed. Is there a similar dynamic within Canada with regard to this?
No, not really. It's actually flatly uniform. Every major party in Canada is hard on lockdowns right now. It seems the only so Ontario is right now under a conservative government, and they are currently under what they call a stay-at-home order under the Premier Doug Ford. No one really knows what that means because he's been telling people to stay home the whole time, and now he's saying don't leave the house unless you absolutely have to. So no real difference in message there. But we have seen now people, just yesterday there's a story that a woman and her family, or a father and his son, were cleaning off an ice rink at like midnight, and they've got fined by bylaw officers, $1,000 for not being inside the house. So these kind of things, and that's under a conservative government. Quebec is very strange with their government. You could say they're conservative, but they're not quite the same type of conservative. They're more like this Franco, really, believe in Quebec kind of conservative. And while they were pretty lax on lockdowns and everything in the beginning, they've really taken a hard turn, and that might be because they're polling so well throughout the year that they can afford to lose, 10 points and still win elections. just by doing crazy lockdowns and things like these.
So we've had some successful lawsuits here in the United States. Notably, my own Catholic Archdiocese of Brooklyn brought a successful suit against Emperor Cuomo, our governor, to allow people to attend church. Have there been these kinds of legal challenges in Canada, and if so, how are they doing?
Yeah, I can't tell you exactly how they're doing. There was a pretty famous case about this fella by the name of Adam Skelly in Toronto, Etobicoke specifically, who owned a restaurant, opened up his restaurant and faced the lockdown violations. That was, selling food out the door, crazy business. He ended up being slapped with a $50,000 bail. That's bail, incredible for that's over the moon money. I don't know exactly what the update is on those, but I know he is being represented. People started like pro bono through the Justice Center, I believe. I can't remember. People started GoFundMe's, raised like $300,000 for him. And of course, some people decided to start a counter petition calling him a white privileged frat boy and really smearing his image. And Canadian media has really not been friendly to him. And, that's just what's expected sometimes in Canada. Yeah.
So let me wrap up with one last question. Carol Markowitz has a column in today's New York Post warning about people primarily on the left who, even after the vaccine, want to keep a lot of these restrictions, whether it's masking, whether it's lockdowns, whatever it is, in place, if not permanently, at least indefinitely. Is that an attitude that is prevalent within Canada right now, and how concerned are you about it?
Somewhat. I think the thing that worries me more is that you see these polls coming out where it's something like 70% of Canadians, how much can you trust polls, but 70% of Canadians agree in favor of not letting people into businesses if they aren't vaccinated, things like that. But what's more concerning, I mean, if we even get to that point, right now, Canada's facing major vaccine shortages that we can't seem to up our production enough to get any meaningful impact on vaccines. You have the top doctor of Ontario who is breaking 3,000. Ontario's cases are breaking 3,000 a day, really. And they're saying that lockdown restrictions won't ease up until they're under 1,000 cases. So, I mean, vaccine, yeah, it would be nice to start worrying about that at this point, because it seems like Canada's whole response has been really botched, and to make up for how botched it is, the provincial premiers have been really coming down hard on lockdowns and stuff.
Crazy situation.
Yeah, not good. Good.
No. Thanks so much for joining us today, and keep us apprised of how things are going up there.
Will do.